But yeah, so that is all I'll get into today. Because, like I say, when we move on to gaming and things like that, it gets this company and the way it interacts with games and entertainment as a whole. There are there are a lot of avenues and there are a lot of connecting branches. It gets very deep and very intense, which is why I'm saying it is important, especially with the way games are moving in the future and how much more interactive they are becoming. It's going to be important when exploring all these different worlds and spending thousands and thousands of hours, maybe even pretending to be someone else. It's going to be important to be biometrically linked to your account so you know who you are. So, why do I believe it's important that there's going to be psychological factors when it comes to gaming? Well, the way I see the gaming industry moving, and actually, I'm going to predict this now because I believe within the next 5 to 10 years, maybe even sooner, when AI starts getting integrated into game design, the worlds, there's going to be an explosion in the size of gaming worlds and universes and things like games are going to explode into like terabytes of data. Like games are going to be terabytes big and they're going to be more interactive and they're going to be very, very vast. And it's not just the game worlds that are going to be vast, it's going to be the amount of releases that publishers, that even small time developers are releasing games that maybe in this time, like in 2025, they might be considered AAA games or whatever. But in 5 to 10 years, there's going to be small developers with just a little bit of AI assistance that are going to be making games like that. And they're going to be massive, and there's going to be a lot of them, which is why now I believe that a profile that centralizes in all of these different worlds, that centralizes you as a gamer and you as an explorer of these worlds, it's going to be so important to keep track of data. So game worlds are going to be more vast, they're going to be bigger, and there's going to be more of them. What are the psychological factors? Well, basically, what it means is that people are going to spend a lot more time gaming. And we already spend a lot of time in 2025. As of 2025, human beings spend a lot of time gaming. Like, there's some people who sit 8, 9 hours a day in front of a flat screen and a keyboard and a mouse, and it's no problem for them, it's nothing. Like, that's easy. But whatever opinions you have about that, in the future, it's going to be more intense because those people who are gaming 8 to 9 hours a day, that's in a world that's a fraction of the size of how big games are actually going to be. They're actually going to become worlds. And it's like, what do you mean games are going to become worlds? They are already worlds in 2025. And I'm like, no, no. In today's games, like I say, are a fraction of the size of what is going to be coming in the future when AI gets involved and the speed at which it can render stuff and program stuff and the geniuses behind this technology. Trust me. Imagine a game like No Man's Sky, how huge and vast that is. Now an AI like looks at the source programming and like looks at the source code and just like in a matter of weeks or whatever, it's generated an entirely new game based on that algorithm that's in a No Man's Sky. Now, that's going to be happening 10, 20, 30, 1,000 times a year from the speed. And it's going to be okay, Warren. It's not going to be that entertaining. And I'm like, it is going to be. Has, have you ever sat down and just explored ChatGPT, just a basic text program? And you sit and you can talk to that thing for hours and hours about interesting like things and learn things. And now imagine an entire game world that is built around that, and every NPC can talk back to you and give you answers like that, and different answers every time, and like, you know what I mean. People are going to spend more time gaming in the future. If a person can spend 8 to 9 hours a day on World of Warcraft, I can only imagine in 5 to 10 years the games that are coming out, like how much time people can spend there. So am I saying in the future it's going to be like the Matrix? People are going to be like inside a virtual world or something? And I'm like, no, not a Matrix. There's going to be like 50,000 different Matrixes, maybe even more, of just these worlds that have been designed by AI. And the AI, especially if the developers or whatever allow it to continue making updates and patches and fixes its own bugs and things like that. My goodness, the revolution that is going to take place. But yeah, back to reality. That's those sorts of habits that people are going to pick up in the future. It's going to create a sort of disconnection with this reality, or that people live more in the virtual world than they do in the real world, and it's going to get kind of freaky. It's like, what do you mean? And what does that mean? I'm like, it's going to create a disconnection. The connection is going to weaken between this world and their consciousness. Because they would rather live in a world with different physics, where you are able to fly, or you can shoot fire from your hands, or you can teleport, or whatever. Like, the people will all have their own reasons, but this world or this universe will never lose its importance, because it serves as a hub that connects all of those different worlds. It's how you access all these different worlds. So, in that way, we don't have to worry about that. But, like I say, mentally, we need to prepare for this, and we need to make preparations and applications like this that keep you centralized. And it's a lot to keep up with. It's going to be a lot to keep up with for people. Like, if we think about it now, it seems impossible, but in the future there's going to be kids that grow up, the brain evolves and it learns to adapt to that, and shifting in and out of different worlds and coming back to this reality and being able to function normally and perfectly, because they know where they are and they know who they are. So we're going to be walking a very tight line in the coming decades, as the virtual world and the physical world just sort of like mold together and like become a part of each other. You know what I mean? And it's going to create something beautiful. It's not something I'm against. It's just, yeah, we need to prepare for it. So what does In Your Head Productions have to do with all of that, all of these new worlds emerging? Well, it's an interesting characteristic I've found about the company, is that it can exist safely in all those worlds, where the principles are pretty much easy to understand for any world it enters. It can exist in the Marvel universe, it can exist in the DC universe, it can exist in the One Piece universe or the Dragon Ball Z universe. It can exist anywhere and still apply to the beings that live there and inhabit there. So that is one interesting characteristic that I found about the company, and why I believe that we should have a profile, at least in this reality, the hub world that connects all those worlds. We should have a profile